to evacuate the tower. Who's coming? Step forward.
I got it, Sarge.
I'll go.
Sarge.
All right. Follow me. Stay together.
Nicolas Cage stars in Oliver Stone's World Trade Center, and we'll also review Scarlett Johansson and Hugh Jackman in Woody Allen's Scoop. I'm Richard Roeper, and filling in for Roger this week is the writer-director of the Clerks films, Chasing Amy, and who can forget? Jersey Girl, Mr. Kevin Smith. Welcome, sir.
Who can forget, sir? Thank you for that thumbs down. Well, I thought about coming here and just slapping the taste out of your mouth, but you gave Clerks 2 a thumbs up.
You know,
so
okay. Right. Well, because we got a half hour. There's, you know, if we get a lag and you want to go at it, let me know.
We'll get to it.
First movie is World Trade Center. Now, this movie, I think, has a real chance of getting a nomination for Best Picture. I also believe at least 2 of the stars should be nominated for their acting. In perhaps the most conventional, straightforward movie of his career, Oliver Stone recreates the events of September 11, 2001, as experienced by 2 New York Port Authority officers who were summoned to the scene after the first tower was hit. Nicolas Cage plays Sergeant John McLaughlin, a 21-year veteran.
What special equipment we got down there? What? Prepared for everything. Car bombs, chemical, biological. An attack from the top, but not this. Not for something this size. There's no plan. We didn't make it.
Even as they were risking their lives, McLaughlin and hundreds of other rescue workers really didn't know what they were dealing with.
Sarge, you won't believe this. Your Suburban on Church, it's gone. Roof smashed in.
Stay together and stay focused.
After McLaughlin and Michael Peña's Will Jimeno are trapped in the rubble, much of the focus shifts to their families. Maria Bello gives one of the best performances of her career as McLaughlin's wife.
Are you here to tell me something? Don't come in here, Pat. I mean it. Don't you come into this house.
Donna, he's not. We don't know. We don't know.
They declared him as missing. That's all. He's just missing.
I think Bello deserves a Best Supporting Actress nomination, as does Maggie Gyllenhaal, who plays Peña's wife. Now, maybe you don't want to relive these events, even though this is actually an uplifting story about survival and about resilience in the face of a terrible horror. That's your choice, but you'll be missing what I think is one of the best films of the year, so for me, thumbs way up.
It's a tough movie to not like. It's well made. The thing that you walk away with, though, aside from like the incredible story, which I had not known going in, it's strange because you're sitting there watching this movie and you're like, I thought I saw Oliver Stone's name, but it doesn't feel like any Oliver Stone movie you've ever seen. Like, doesn't look like it. Nobody speaks like they do in an Oliver Stone movie. It's not shot like an Oliver Stone movie. It's a pretty straightforward telling. And if you took his name out of the mix, like, you would never know that.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that. I mean, there's one kind of strange shot. One of the guys has this sort of hallucination of Jesus with a water bottle.
That's the closest thing.
Which is very Oliver Stone-esque. And then I was reading about this, Kevin. That guy actually had that, you know, vision of that. So even the one strange kind of a Stone-esque touch, if you will, is based on the facts.
Totally. And we got to give props to Nicolas Cage, who, for the first time in I don't know how many years, gives the most believable and subdued performance I've seen him give in a movie. You almost want to bury him in rubble in future films to keep his performance level.
Know, seriously, though, you know, I was thinking the same thing. Now, here's a guy, Nicolas Cage, who, again, I love as an actor because, again, takes a lot of chances on screen. But here's a guy who, you know, the mannerisms and the vocal tics and the things he does as an actor, sometimes they don't work for people, but he takes a lot of chances. And for this movie, he's almost in this coffin-esque type of, you know, he can't move.
It's a true performance.
And it's just his face.
You forget that it's Nicolas Cage. I mean, yes, he's buried in rubble, so it's hard to see that it's Nicolas Cage, but even before it gets to that point in the movie, you're like, wow, this is like Nicolas Cage dialed way back, and he gives a really, really believable performance. So yeah, I was happy with it.
Glad to hear so. Okay.
Of the 4 movies I had to watch this week, our next flick was the one I expected to like about as much as Richard here liked Jersey Girl. It's called Step Up, and the movie works really hard at making the viewer believe in the redemptive power of dance. And if that was a sentence I never thought I'd say out loud, here's another one. I really dug this flick. Channing Tatum plays Tyler Gage, a ne'er-do-well from Baltimore who runs afoul of the law and gets a community service sentence doing janitorial work in the Maryland School of the Arts. And there, he meets rich kid dance student Nora, played by Jenna Dewan, who, surprise, surprise, needs him to fill in for her injured showcase dance partner.
Catch me.
Now,
Tyler, you see, is something of an amateur hoofer himself with natural ability you don't normally see in a carjacker. The stars align. Nora opens up the hot stepper to seeing more in himself than has bounced from foster home to foster home self-image ever dreamed. And Tyler imbues his muse's footwork with some street cred popping and locking, stealing her heart in the process. I'm gonna catch all manner of crap for liking it, but sometimes it's refreshing to just watch a movie where something real, like getting a school scholarship or impressing the head of a dance troupe, is all that's at stake. Young and old alike can get into this flick. Yes, it's corny, yes, it's predictable, and yes, I give it thumbs up.
Well, I would agree with you on one point, and that is you're going to catch all manner of crap for liking this movie. I think you're clinically insane with this review, and I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I think you're a dance Nazi.
I'm not
last three dance movies you reviewed you didn't like.
You know what? I'm not a dance Nazi. There was a dance sequence in Clerks 2, which I enjoyed, my friend. This movie's terrible. This guy's like, what? He's about 27 years old, and he's playing like a high school kid. Everybody in this movie.
He looks young to me.
Oh, he does not look like young. And you know what? I have no problem with people playing younger if they can pull it off. I just think the guy's actually a terrible actor. He does this whole kind of stretch and squint and mumble thing.
What happened to you in your childhood?
You know what, man? I'll tell you what happened to me in my childhood. I saw better movies than Step Up. And this thing, you're right, it's very familiar.
Right.
You've got the classic mom who doesn't believe in her child's dream of dancing. She's like, you need to go to college. And of course, like every other mom in these kinds of movies, she finally shows up and sees her daughter's dream. I don't know what she's been doing for the last 10 years. I mean, this thing just follows every single step. And you know what, on top of everything else, this guy is not a good dancer.
Oh, come on.
He's got that one pop and lock move. You know what?
Show me one of those
I could take you out on State Street, and there's guys out there with buckets that you can throw $1 in the thing, and they can dance better than that.
But it's tough to be in the position where you're saying that some dude can't dance if you're not going to do a step yourself. The floor is yours.
Well, you know what? If he wants to come here, we'll talk to him. I'll have a dance off with him, and that would be a better movie.
That movie didn't make you feel good?
It made me feel good when it was over, so I could get out of there.
You're a hay tank and a very small man with a black heart. That's all I'm going to say about that. Later in the show, Scarlett Johansson and Hugh Jackman star in Woody Allen's Scoop. And next, we dip into our own personal video libraries in the Thumbs Up video segment.
Okay, looking at movies new on DVD, Robin Williams in RV, that got 2 thumbs down. Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Brick got a thumbs up from Roger, a thumbs down from me. And Denzel Washington and Jodie Foster in Inside Man, that got a thumbs down from Roger and a thumbs up from me. Now, Kevin, for our video picks this week, first thing I want to do, I know you're going to be shocked to hear this, but occasionally on the internet, there's incorrect information out there. Wikipedia, the People's Encyclopedia, which I love, and I
awesome website.
Of course, like to visit my own biography on there from time to time.
I could tell you were a glory whore.
Yeah, thank you. Now, I want to read this to you. They say here that Roeper has stated that his favorite film of all time is The Godfather, and his third favorite film of all time is Killer Clowns from Outer Space, according to this. That's not true.
Gotta be true.
I will say, though, I have the Godfather collection here, and this is my favorite movie of all time. This, my friend, is the Bible, as far as I'm concerned.
It's the Godfather collection. Is that all 3?
This is.
So when you say it's the Bible, is Godfather Part 3 the Rapture?
That's the apocalypse, my friend.
Pretty much.
Yeah, this Godfather Part 3. Okay, fine. Godfather Part 3, not so much, but the first 2 in the entire collection, I think it's just the great American movie of all time. Also in my personal library, because we're going to talk here about films that we really own.
Right.
There's a 1965, I believe, comedy with Jack Lemmon and Verna Lisi called How to Murder Your Wife. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's so funny and so, I mean, from the title on, it's so politically incorrect. Right. So very dark, very funny stuff, How to Murder Your Wife. And my final recommendation for you, of course, I know you've seen this movie, I would think, is Wild Things, the unrated version.
I have seen both the rated and the unrated version.
I love the unrated version.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some great stuff in there. Denise Richards, of course, Nev Campbell. And this is a movie that in the closing credits, you actually have to watch the closing credits. You get the whole movie explained to you between, you know, the regular credits.
It's more than just a tag. And plus, there's all that nudity that you love in movies, so much.
Well, when it's done tastefully, and there's nothing more tasteful than Denise Richards, Nev Campbell, making out with, you know, pouring booze on themselves.
With Matt Dillon helping.
I'd like to go with the family picks if I can.
I see you as the Matt Dillon type in that type of thing. You're watching the movie and you're just like, I am Matt Dillon. Do I get to talk about mine?
Yeah, let's talk about yours.
You know, this is I wouldn't call this one of my all-time faves, but I just watched this on DVD yesterday. This Lisa Kudrow show, The Comeback, that was on HBO, that they canceled, just came out on as the only season, they're calling it, box set.
Yeah.
Really, really funny stuff, really biting stuff. It's like very much a female version of The Office. There's that wonderful, uncomfortable type humor where you almost want to cry. You feel so bad for the people in the show.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite movies, and one that probably has the most spins ever, on my player is the talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh, yeah.
That movie is so wonderful, so well shot, well acted, well directed, tight script. Were you a big fan? Did you?
Huge fan. And you talk about stuff that kind of makes you uncomfortable. I mean, Matt Damon is so great in that movie, playing that guy who can insinuate himself into these situations, but there's something so creepy about him. And, you know, you see an early glimpse of Philip Seymour Hoffman's brilliance in a supporting performance. I love that film.
And he's infinitely quotable in that movie too. Philip Seymour Hoffman, where he's like, "Tommy, how's the peeping?"
Oh, that's good. That's nice.
The third one I'm going to talk about, and this is shameful and shameless self-plug, is have you ever seen a DVD called An Evening with Kevin Smith?
You know, actually, I have.
Have you seen it?
I have.
It's 4 hours, 2 DVDs.
Where the noted director, writer.
There's a guy who makes some pictures, some good, some thumbs down, and he takes the stage and does college lectures. And it's not even a lecture; it's Q&A.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's I love it. It's me. The compliment I hear about it the most, which is often a backhanded compliment, is like, "This is the best movie ever made." I didn't make this movie. You know, I just sat there and talked.
But it is a lot of fun. They actually are.
If you're into watching a fat guy talk to college kids for 4 hours, this is a DVD.
If you love movies, actually, I think people will get a kick out of it. Okay, so all of the movies and DVDs and collections we've mentioned are available right now.
Coming up, one of the best movies I've seen in a decade. What's it going to be?
You look stunning.
Oh, thank you. It's beautiful here.
Thank you,
It's
thank
really...
you. Yes, it's been in the family for years, about 400 years. It's a little stuffy for my taste. But...
She said that all that's missing is a moat.
Right.
I love that. I love the moat line. All that's missing is a moat.
I'm happy to report that after macking on Deborah Messing, Téa Leoni, Julia Roberts, Elizabeth Berkley, and Charlize Theron in previous movies, Woody Allen does not romance Scarlett Johansson in Scoop. He plays her wisecracking surrogate father, a magician named the Great Splendini. Johansson plays Sandra Pransky, a bosomy American journalism student visiting London.
That Peter Lyman is the tarot card serial killer. Now, just write this down. If so, then he's murdered a dozen women, short-haired brunette prostitutes. And if it turns out to be Lyman, this will be the biggest story to hit London since Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper. Is that capitalized?
That's Deadwood star Ian McShane as Joe Stromble, a recently deceased journalist who has the scoop of the century. He returns from the dead to tell Sandra that dashing aristocrat Hugh Jackman's Peter Lyman could be the infamous tarot card killer.
Yes, we're the Spencers of Palm Beach.
Oh, not the same Spencers who own the shipping line.
No. My father's into silver and gold and drilling for wells.
Now, Sandra actually falls in love with Peter, though she's only supposed to be pretending to fall in love with him, even as the extremely convenient clues begin to mount. I think Woody Allen is one of the great dialogue writers of the last half-century. Why not create an ingenue-free story with a 70-something leading man playing his age, dealing with being at that point in his life? I think that would be a real scoop. So in this case, I give this a respectful thumbs down, a mild thumbs down.
Yeah, it's, you know, with a guy whose career is as storied as his, it breaks your heart to ever have an unkind thing to say.
I agree.
It's just not, it's not funny. You know, it's like you want there's one half chuckle in the movie where he talks about inviting her out to dinner and he says, "How do you feel about McNuggets?" And that was the only thing that kind of made me smile, but there's not a single laugh in the movie, and you're just sitting there going like, man, from the credits begin, and it's the standard Woody Allen credits, you're like, here we go.
Right.
It's just kind of downhill from there, but
you know, I love Woody Allen, and you're right, though. I mean, like, he's doing jokes like, you know, well, I was born Jewish, but then I converted to narcissism. You know, and it just sounds like something he would have said in a 1972 comedy.
Yeah, and I agree with you about the whole, like, he seems to be doing, I wouldn't go so far as to say a retread, but he really is, like, kind of reaching back. Like, I watched this movie, and I kept thinking of Alice, and I kept thinking of his segment from New York Stories. Remember that? Where he puts his mom in the box, and then she disappears and stuff.
Yeah.
He loves the Asian theater. He loves the Chinese box gag. But it is kind of strange, and he just, like, after Match Point, which, even though I felt that was kind of something of a retread from a smaller segment of Crimes and Misdemeanors, it felt like, wow, this dude's kind of going in a different direction now. And then you heard he was doing the next flick in Britain as well, and you were like, this will be interesting. And then it's this, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, not really necessary.
Not necessary. One of the probably best left forgotten of the Allen canon.
I would think so.
But he's still a god. Our next flick is not just the best film I saw all week, but easily the best film I've seen all year, if not one of the 10 best I've seen in a decade.
Wow.
It's called Half Nelson, and it's a powerful reminder that American independent film is alive and well, and can still be the most penetrating cinema when in the right hands. Those hands belong to Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. Ryan Gosling portrays an inner-city history teacher and girls basketball coach who spends his extracurricular hours nursing a crack habit until one of his students, played with subdued perfection by newcomer Sharika Epps, discovers him getting high after hours in the school locker room. What follows is an unlikely friendship between a pair of drug-related casualties.
Got a lady coming over tonight or what?
Yeah.
What's like all that?
She's all right.
She like you?
I don't know. I'm hard to like sometimes.
That's true.
Oh.
Gosling's basehead teacher confronts his longtime dealer, underlining the film's fascinating theme of muddled absolutes.
No. It's good for Dre to have somebody like you looking out for Mr. Model A1 citizen.
I don't know. Because I'm supposed to do something, right? But what am I supposed to do?
It's the riveting, award-worthy performance by Gosling who first commanded attention with his outstanding performance as a Jewish neo-Nazi in The Believer, and later in the wildly popular movie The Notebook, that keeps you glued to the screen. This guy proves once again that he is hands down the best young actor working today. There aren't enough thumbs in the world to do half Nelson half the justice it deserves. This is just simply an incredible film.
You know, I'm so glad to hear what you're saying. I agree with you every step
Isn't it
of the way,
great?
Kevin.
I mean,
it is a masterpiece.
Yes.
And when I watched this, I was thinking, you know, Ryan Gosling, yeah, he's known now for The Notebook, but here you see a performance that is worthy of like somebody like a young Brando or a young Sean Penn.
Or a young De Niro. I'm watching the flick the whole time going, like, this dude's going to be a legend in 10 years.
The guy never misses a beat.
Never.
And you're right, this material in the wrong hands, every scene, it could go the wrong way, and it always plays so authentic. There's a scene, and you mentioned Anthony Mackie, who's also just fantastic in this. And there's a scene where Gosling goes to confront him, and it could have gone into a bunch of different directions, and instead it's just perfect. It's just what would really happen in that situation.
And you don't expect the direction it's going. You don't see it coming, and I'm telling you, there's not a missed note in the whole flick. The girl, Sharika Epps, is phenomenal as well.
Fantastic. That kind of unvarnished performance that you sometimes get from a child actor who just hasn't learned all the wrong actory things to do yet and is just pure. And I'm telling you, one of the things, I know you're a big fan of this show, you've been watching it forever, and I watched it with Gene and Roger. One of the great things about this show, if I can toot our own horn, is when we find a movie like this and we can just urge the country, you know, I know it's going to play in limited release, you're going to have to look for it, but please look for this movie. When people tell me, oh, there's not that much originality in summer movies or this or that, no, there are movies like this, you just got to look for them.
This pops in a big bad way, and also when you look at it, it's the work of people who haven't made a lot of flicks. Like this dude Fleck, this is like, he took this short film he had, blew it up into this feature, and it holds.
Absolutely.
You know, like it's an amazing piece to look at where I sit there as a filmmaker and I'm like, this dude's way better than me. I've been doing this 12 years. This dude is phenomenal. And big props to Gosling again, because who looks at that script and says, like, this is going to be
do this for no money.
And because I don't know how long the script was, but like a lot of the movie was ad-libbed from what I understand. So it's not like it was there on the page. That dude had to really imbue that performance with every bit of essence that he did. And it's riveting. It's insane.
It's
insanely
purely
good.
original piece of work.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back to recap this week's show, but first, a look at what's coming up next week.
We're married, and it's overrated.
What?
I will bet you the secret of the orange tree that I can guess which hand you place this in every time.
Okay, recapping the movies on this week's show, this is the part of the show where we tell you what to think. 2 thumbs up for World Trade Center. Me and Richard here split on Step Up.
Now, I'm telling you right now, this is your chance. You have one last chance.
I'm going to stick with it, dude. I'm sticking with it.
You know what's going to happen?
I think in 10 years, you're going to come around in my way thinking.
Well, I'm just going to warn you right now that you're going to be on the ads along with Earl Dittman of Wireless Magazine.
I'll take it. Look, I'd be honored to be up there with Dittman. Dittman's a legend. He's a master. Don't be a go see Step Up. 2 thumbs down for Scoop. Sadly, and 2 big thumbs up for Half Nelson, like the movie you must go out and see right now. Turn off your TV, go watch this movie.
Yeah, it's a special film. Yeah. Okay, when we come back and look at movies now in theaters.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by
Seprecor, providing peace of mind to patients and physicians alike, is proud to sponsor closed captioning and to help the hearing impaired enjoy this show.
You ain't first, you're last.
Looking at movies now in theaters, which I reviewed with last week's guest critic Jay Leno, Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights got 2 thumbs up. Steve Carell and Greg Kinnear in Little Miss Sunshine, brilliant comedy, got 2 thumbs up. And Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx in Miami Vice, I give it a mild thumbs up. It got a thumbs down from Jay. And Kevin, thanks so much. This was great, man. You did a terrific job.
How did I
Appreciate
compare to Leno?
You know, you guys wear the exact same clothes,
Right.
but other than
We
that,
always
very
dress the
different.
same. It was when I heard Leno was doing the show, I was like, wow, they've hit a new low. And then I got programmed on the
Nice.
show, and I was like,
That's
forget
lovely.
it.
You know, the best headline I saw, though, was Jay and Silent Bob to fill in for Ebert, which is
actually
pretty
kind of funny.
clever. Yeah,
That is very clever. I'd like to take this moment to wish Roger a quick recovery. He's missed. And hopefully next time you get sick and I can take over your spot.
That's a lovely sentiment. I'm going to turn that into my holiday greeting card. Hopefully next time you get
That'll
sick.
go out on the Christmas calendar.
Thank you. Okay, that's it for this week's show. Until next week, the balcony is closed.